Hello and welcome to the program, and Happy New Year from wherever you're joining us. My name is Marie Yambo. With the new year comes New Year resolutions like adopting a healthy lifestyle. Well, joining us today to talk to us about a healthy lifestyle and in fact effective ways of adopting a healthy lifestyle is the founder of WellnessKE, and that is Fatma Mohammed. Fatma, thank you so much for coming into the studio, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too, Marie. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me, and I hope everyone gets to enjoy the conversation and finally get to set those resolutions and achieve them.
You know, for some of us, we think about a new year, and for a new year, you know, comes New Year resolutions. And for a number of us, it's about losing weight.
Yes.
And you know, so just like you'll be breaking it down for us, some of us start very well in January. You know, we are eating healthy and everything, and then by the time I think we're getting to February and March, and then it's like it's waning. But first, before we talk about the effective ways of adopting a healthy lifestyle, probably what you could talk to us about is what are those healthy ways of, what are the healthy ways that we can start by?
I think the most important thing is to define what healthy living really is.
Exactly.
And the reason why is because it can look different for me and it can look different, you know, to you. So a healthy lifestyle or living in that state of wellness is basically just that act of you continuously pursuing that act of just improving yourself. Whether you're going to continuously pursue how you're going to improve your physical well-being, be it fitness or eating healthy or even kicking a bad habit like smoking, drinking, or even sleeping early is one of the ways that you can be able to do that. It can also be something financial, because you're also going to be living in a state of financial wellness. If you improve your finances, you obviously improve your levels of stress, and then it also, you know, boosts and impacts your health. So this journey of healthy living should not be something that you compare. It shouldn't be you set your goal and then you see that someone else is doing this, so you also want to try and do the same. It should actually be something that actually suits you as Marie. So if, for instance, you really wanted to, it could be that you even wanted to gain weight in a healthy way. You actually want to start that journey, and that's what you want for 2023 for yourself. Or you want to be your doctor to put you off, you know, blood pressure medication, or maybe you're diabetic and you're trying to control your blood sugar levels naturally. That should actually be something that you define and you set that goal that suits you. So it's more personalized. And in that way, you know, your goals become more realistic. They actually affect you and not everyone else. And one of the biggest takeaways from this conversation, I want for people to understand that even as this year has started, I want for them not to, you know, have that too much excitement to announce that they are about to start this new journey, because everybody rushes to social media and says, okay guys, no more salt, no sugar, no life, no happiness. And then they're like, I'm doing this thing, watch me. And then of course, as you've mentioned, by February and March, everything, you know, is going south. So no need to announce it to everybody. Let it be a you thing. Let it be a personal goal. Let it be personalized to your health needs, and also let you be the only person that knows. That way you can actually keep on motivating yourself, as opposed to inviting other people to give their unsolicited advice and opinion and probably tell you, oh, so you've been doing this, I'm not seeing any changes, and then you might actually end up, you know, giving up along the way.
Exactly. And it's interesting the way you've put it, Fatma, that adopting a healthy lifestyle is not just about gaining weight or losing weight. It has really nothing to do with food per se, but it is how best can I manage the stress, how best can I manage my finances and all that. We'll be talking about definitely healthy eating and all that, because most of the time that is what people understand to be you know, when you talk about wellness and all that. And so just like you've put it, you need to be realistic in how you're going to adapt, because for many of us, sometimes you start with a lot of vigor, but at the end of the day, for instance, somebody starts saying that I'm not going to be taking breakfast,
Yeah.
you know, or I'm going to be skipping lunch. Is that the way somebody is supposed to go?
Definitely not. And the reason why is because the moment you put your body through any kind of stress, then that means you're going against the grain, not along the grain. And this is something that I want for people to understand. The moment you start doing things that actually feel too much of a strain, it's too difficult for you to even just realistically live this lifestyle, then you're going to have problems along the way, and you have a higher chance of you know, backsliding, as people say. So there's no need for you to you know, be drastic when it comes to your changes. You can actually be realistic in the sense that you set a long-term and short-term goal. When it comes to actually you setting up goals for your New Year's resolutions, when it comes to your health and well-being, make sure you have two. You have a long-term and short-term goal. And I'll give a perfect example. For instance, you have someone that really, maybe he or she has high blood pressure, but then they're also expected to lose some weight. And then they also need to, you know, make some changes with their diet and nutrition, and maybe cut back on alcohol and things like that. So this is someone that can realistically tell themselves that they need a goal that is short-term and a goal that is long-term. An example of a short-term goal is maybe every single day they can actually include on their plate more food that's going to help them in managing their blood pressure. And most people are not realistic about that. For instance, they really want to hit the gym and do everything else, but the food on their plate is what's causing them, to end up sick in the first place. So when it comes to, for instance, high blood pressure, you need foods that are high in potassium and magnesium, because these foods actually help you with, getting rid of fluid retention. Because high blood pressure is basically pressure in your blood vessels. So you actually want to relieve that pressure. And foods that are high in potassium and magnesium, like avocados and bananas and leafy greens, nuts and seeds, all these are foods that are going to help you with that. And then cutting down on foods that are high in sodium, because sodium is, soluble, and so it actually leads to fluid retention. So your blood vessels are going to be packed with too much fluid, hence the pressure. So that's one short-term goal. You can say every time I actually serve myself food, I can include more of these foods on this plate. And then as I keep on going, I might add, an exercise or two. I might sleep earlier than everyone else. I might rest more, etc. But you've started with a short-term goal. Then a long-term goal could be, you would want to get to a place where you can manage your blood pressure naturally, where if you sit down with your doctor, they can confidently even tell you, I can put you off your blood pressure medication for now because I'm seeing you don't have any of these spikes and you're actually taking care of your health much better. Or maybe it was leading you to becoming pre-diabetic. So maybe they can actually get you to that place where this short-term goal can actually prevent that. So by the time you finish the year, you at 2023 in December, you actually see yourself achieving a big milestone, but you started with a short-term goal. And the beauty of that is, even as you achieve this short-term goal and you've started changing your diet, you can add another short-term goal. You can start taking walks. So instead of taking, the lift, you can take the stairs, or you can decide to, cut back on smoking if you do smoke and things like that. So no matter what you do, always have a short term and then have a long term, because it will help you in achieving and staying on track all the way through. And
talking about the short term and long term goals, and I'm thinking of how realistic somebody needs to be. For instance, it probably, you can actually lose probably like about 3 kilos in a month. But you cannot talk about 5 kilos, or within 2 months you want to lose 10 kilos.
I know.
That can be very, very stressful, because that is what some people will do to themselves. And then they'll deny themselves food, skipping meals. And while fasting, I think, is really healthy, but then it depends on how you do it. Again, you can still lose weight probably fasting in a healthy way. But how realistic is the goal that you want to meet? And just wanting to understand the way you're saying we need to be realistic with the way we are going to be adopting, especially our eating habits.
Yeah.
So how would you advise someone who maybe is living with other people in their house, you have a family and all that, and everybody else is eating, but you also need to watch out on what you're eating. How can they balance that?
I think the most important thing is for you to ask yourself, why is it that you want to make the changes? When you ask yourself why, then you'll have a reason why you need to stay on track. It could be that you want to be healthy enough so that you can live a long, good quality life so you can be around for your children. That's a solid reason for you as a parent to decide to actually make changes and know what goes on your plate and what goes into your body. Because you can actually imagine a life where your children are living this life but you're not here because you did not take care of yourself, and there will be no one else to blame other than yourself. And as a parent, you want that for yourself and for your children. So finding your why will actually motivate you. And I know that this has worked for me, it has worked for my clients, it works for everyone that is realistically asking themselves, why do I want to do this? It's okay to want to fit in something maybe that used to fit you a while back. That's a short-term goal. But then long-term, wouldn't you want something that's more solid, that actually will keep on motivating you? Even when you've gotten home late from work and you're so tired, it's so easy for you to grab the fast food. But if you can put in a little bit of time to prepare something that's healthier for you and also for the rest of the family, because I believe in living a life where you are taking care of yourself and your children as well, because we're seeing a rise in cases of children actually being affected by obesity and even childhood diabetes. That should never be happening to children. And that's not happening because of any other reason. It's because of what's going on their plates. And what's going on their plates is going there because most parents are busy and they don't have the time. But if you have to equate time in your child's livelihood and you feel like time is more valuable and work is more valuable, then don't blame yourself, but just take a step back and ask yourself, how did I get here? How can I manage this? How can I make this work? Does it mean every Sunday I'm going to meal prep? We'll actually take the time and maybe boil certain foods and steam certain foods and make sure that they're in the fridge so that all of us, when we're back from work and school, we can still sit down and eat real, actual food, as opposed to what most people are eating right now that is continuously harming, you know, their health.
As a wellness expert, you know, there is this notion that there are certain types of foods that you're supposed to eat. Definitely there are more healthier foods than others, you know, but probably you could give us examples of what you can take for your breakfast, what you can take for your lunch. Even before we get to the point where somebody else is watching right now and is like, you mean I need to leave my nyama choma? You mean my French fries, I cannot take them anymore? You'll be addressing that on how we can indulge sometimes.
I know.
But what are those healthy foods that we can eat and how we can actually space them in throughout the day, and even the snacks?
I think the most important thing is for you to understand that all of us as human beings, no one's to be blamed. We have actually associated food with emotion, whereby if I'm feeling stressed, then I want to eat certain foods. If I'm feeling down or if I want to watch something. But really, food's goal is to nourish you. So if you look at your plate and you're not being nourished, something somewhere is wrong. And also, even if you haven't gained the weight yet, I promise you, your health is deteriorating if you're not eating for nourishment. Because food has a reason why it needs to go into your body. It should fuel you, it should help you in many functions and also handling a lot of things going on in your body. So the number one thing you need to remember is on your plate, you need to have your macronutrients, you need to have your carbohydrates. But when we talk about carbohydrates, we're talking about healthy sources of carbohydrates, right? So we have foods such as potatoes, sweet potatoes, cassava, matoke. All these are, examples of carbohydrates that we can indulge in. And also, I see that a lot of people haven't really figured out that there are some carbohydrates that are refined carbohydrates that are not good for our health. For instance, refined carbohydrates can be those ones that actually have been entirely refined and, you know, all the nutrients have been taken out of them. So really we are eating to just fill up our stomachs, but not really to nourish ourselves. So the most important thing that everyone can do, everyone can go on Google and check. You can actually check for something known as the glycemic index. So when you're looking at a carbohydrate, you can check on Google, what is the glycemic index of a certain food? For instance, what is the glycemic index of rice? And then it will give you a number. You want to actually stick to a number under 55, because that means that this is the type of carbohydrate that's not going to spike your blood sugar levels, right? Especially if you struggle with issues to do with your high blood pressure, diabetes, PCOS, issues to do with fertility. That means your blood sugar levels spike all the time, and you need foods that are actually slow releasing. They won't spike your blood glucose. So that's one thing that you can do with the carbohydrates. And then with protein, you can take both animal protein and plant protein, because plants also contain protein. And they're also a healthy source, because some people complain that they don't have enough money to eat the fish and the what, but then you can still find protein in plants. You can find protein even in peanuts. People who take peanut butter, sesame seed butter and things like that, these are all, they all contain protein. And so indulging in these foods is actually going to be very important, because protein actually helps you in your growth, development, and things like that. And also foods that are rich in healthy fats. That's very important. Healthy fats are important because actually your hormones, when they are produced, they need healthy fats. Actually, healthy fats are the building blocks of your hormones, and your hormones are how your entire body is run. So be it your heart health, your brain, energy levels, fertility, all that. So without healthy fats, you're not actually going to be able to produce a good enough amount of hormones. I know there's this
misconception that fats is supposed to cut down on fats.
Yes.
When you're trying to lead a healthy lifestyle.
Which is so dangerous, and it's actually not true. You need healthy fats in order for you to be able to produce a good amount of hormones, for you to, you know, make sure that you don't deal with issues like bad cholesterol and so forth. So whenever you look at your plate, this is the easiest thing that you can do. Half of your plate, make sure that half of your plate contains, you know, vegetables and leafy greens and anything that is plant-based. Half of your plate should have more, because you will actually end up eating more fiber in that way. And fiber is very, very important, because fiber is not, it's the structural form of a food. So its purpose is more or less like a broom, to come and sweep any kind of toxins and to make sure that you have regular bowel movement. Most people struggle with that, and they are not honest about it. But the moment you see that you struggle, you don't get regular bowel movement every day, it should tell you that you,
fiber
you need to actually add more fiber to your diet. And then a palm size of protein, and then a fist size of carbohydrate. And the carbohydrate we've talked about, of course, is the healthy source of carbohydrate. Then you make sure that you indulge in your healthy fats. Even with your snacks, you can add more nuts and seeds in there and still be able to stay healthy.
And just as we wind up, Fatma, all said and done, adopting a healthy lifestyle, I mean, everybody wants to live healthy, really.
Yes.
But what about indulging? I love my chocolate.
Yes.
And probably I've been taking it like every other day. How then do you inculcate that even with your healthy lifestyle, adopting a healthy lifestyle, how then do you adopt even some of the foods that ordinarily are not very healthy if you take them almost every day, but how do you inculcate that so that you do not feel overwhelmed by this new lifestyle that you're adopting?
Okay, so I'll say two things, right? The first one is, if you see that your health, your doctor has actually told you you need to stay off certain things, please listen to them, okay? Because there's a reason why you've even ended up there in the first place, right? And in that case, what you can do is you can create healthy substitutes that are still going to be able, you're still going to be able to enjoy.
Okay.
I share this with every one of my clients. For me, being from Mombasa, viazi karai was my weakness.
Yes.
And I was like, there's never, nobody will ever make me stop eating viazi karai until, you know, I had 23 fibroids removed and I had a thrombosis, a blood clot. That's when I had to be serious. And what did I do? I created a substitute. I now actually enjoy oven-baked potatoes. I make my own kwaju and my sauces, and it still tastes good. Majority of the times for us, it's the brain that tells you this is what you need. But if you create a substitute and it still works for you, you can still be able to enjoy it.
So creating a substitute is very important.
Yes.
And so just in a few seconds, what would be your parting shot for Kenyans being a new year? Not just because it's a new year, because you can still falter in between there when you're adopting a healthy lifestyle. Doesn't mean that, oh, it's not January anymore, so let me wait for the next January. You can always pick yourself up in between there and continue. But what would be your parting shot?
I would say, number one, be kind to yourself, because when you're setting these goals, sometimes you can drive yourself really, really crazy trying to achieve everything. Be kind to yourself, be realistic, and nobody's perfect. Even as you've started your journey, when you get somewhere and you start feeling like it's too much, take a step back and then come back with more vigor, as you had said, and come back with more motivation to continue. And then as you set these goals, you can actually remind yourself why you started, okay? If you have a quote that's going to remind you, if you're going to pray on it, if you're going to have a family member that's going to be a support system, remind yourself why you started, because it will keep you there. And at the end of the day, life is short. You just want to live a good quality life. You know, a good quality life will only come from you really taking care of yourself. No one's going to go out of their way to do that for you. You should do that because you deserve it.
Thank you so much, Fatma, for taking your time and coming to explain to us how to adopt a healthy, but more so an effective lifestyle.
Thank you.
So thank you also so much for tuning in. Hope that this talk with Fatma here did really help you. So we want to wish you well, even as you begin this new year and begin adopting a healthy lifestyle. Most importantly, find your why. Your why should be more realistic, and it's going to help you to keep going even when things are looking very tough. So thank you so much. We hope to see you next week. Again, my name is Marie Yambo.